Gaijin Entertainment presents The Shooting Range. You're watching The Shooting Range, a weekly show for old tankers, airmen, and aspiring captains in War Thunder. In this episode, Kurt Tank and his masterpiece. Let's get under the hood of the Focke-Wulf 190A. Tank bowling, exactly as ridiculous as it sounds. Hotline, the developers answer questions that you left in the comments. But first, let's start with keeping the skies clear with a healthy dose of lead and the M163 Vulcan. Just look at this ultimate support vehicle, dispensing freedom at a crazy rate of up to 3,000 rounds per minute from its monstrous 20mm 6-barrel Gatling-style rotary cannon. Have you ever wanted to have a laser gun in War Thunder? Well, this is the next best thing. It takes some time to warm this baby up, but then you can practically shred through your targets with a beam of 20mm rounds, with great vengeance and furious anger. And it also has a decent ammunition load. Now let's take a closer look at the way its armor is placed. It's not the strongest, but it's not too bad either. Furthermore, our SP AAG has country heat screens on its sides and in the front, which quite ironically makes it situationally tougher than many of its opponents. It doesn't mean that you should engage in tank-on-tank warfare though. While you can bring down any plane, you have a very limited choice of targets on the ground. These are basically other self-propelled anti-aircraft guns and opponents' tracks and gun barrels. Given the somewhat limited mobility of this vehicle, it's really in your best interest to keep away from the front lines. A few tips. Don't pick the Vulcan right at the start of the battle. You don't want to waste this beast, do you? Once you're in, stay behind your teammates and wait for the enemy bombers to come. An experienced tanker on a Vulcan can make it 10 times easier for the team to capture and hold critical zones. So, don't rush it. Take HEI rounds. This type of ammo packs enough punch to destroy enemy tracks and works wonders when it comes to shooting at planes. Always watch your back. It should never be exposed to enemy fire. There are 2 extra crew members chilling in the back. It is extremely easy and annoying to lose both of them in one go. The last and probably the most important thing, try to stay in the shadows. Let the opponents rage and grieve and keep them in the dark about your exact position. Good luck and good hunting. Now it's time to talk about one of the most well-known aircraft of World War II. You don't have to be an aviation buff to know this plane. There are dozens and dozens of papers and books dedicated to this fighter aircraft. It's the topic of countless documentaries. Every little detail of this combat history has been discussed many times over. But trust us, there still are quite a few interesting things to talk about. We just have to take a look under the hood. Kurt Tank, the engineer who built the Focke-Wulf 190, wasn't the best when it came to aerodynamics. But he was an undisputed genius at design optimization and ergonomics. For example, he was the first German aeronautical designer to realize that it was time to ditch liquid-cooled inline engines in favor of rugged and stable radial engines. As early as 1938, long before his competitors even considered such an option, Tank didn't hesitate to choose an air-cooled 14-cylinder radial engine for his new plane. Now, there was another big question to answer. What was the best way to control the new fighter aircraft? On a fast plane like this, the controls had to be extra crisp and responsive. Most aircraft manufacturers at the time would go with hydraulic systems, but they were heavy and bulky and required a lot of maintenance. No, that would not do. Tank needed something lighter. A pneumatic system then? It was a much lighter alternative as it consisted only of an air compressor, a storage cylinder, and a piston. There was a huge drawback though. A simple air-actuated piston has only 2 positions. If you use the system to control flaps, they can be either open or closed, no in-betweens. You certainly could do that, as aeronautical engineers did with the British Spitfire or Soviet Yaks, but Tank went for yet another option. he decided to rely on electric systems. An electric motor was a small, light, and reliable. Forget about massive amounts of liquid or compressed air. It's just some battery electrolyte. You can even make the battery self-sealing, like they did with the fuel tanks. You could also lay backup circuits so that the system could keep working even if a part of the wiring was badly damaged. Tank went all in. If you don't count the engine that ran on fuel, almost all equipment on the new plane was electrically powered. The low weight and portability of such a system meant that designers could make the aircraft considerably sturdier and had more room for armaments. 4 cannons and 2 machine guns. What other aircraft could boast such a firepower at the start of 1941? Tank also reinforced the wings. In a dive, the Focke-Wulf 190 could get to 800 kilometers an hour without spinning out of control. Yes, it was hardly ideal when it came to a maneuvering dogfight, but for quite a long time there were precious few planes that could stand against the Focke-Wulf 190 in vertical combat. And that's not all. The arrival of the Focke-Wulf 190 didn't only mean that the Luftwaffe got a new first-class fighter aircraft. It also meant that the whole world of aviation was ushered into the era of the advanced electrically powered equipment. Now, let's play some bowling. What bowling, you might ask? We've been discussing aircraft just a few seconds ago. Well, tank bowling, of course. How many vehicles can we penetrate with a Chieftain with a single-shot L-15A3? Can a bunch of reserve tanks stop the mouse? Literally? How many frags can you get with a single shot from a boom bar? Let's see. What if we take an armada of lightly armored vehicles, form a tight circle with them, and then shoot at the center of the circle with 8.5 kilos of explosive matter? The first shot gets rid of only one vehicle, but sets other 4 aflame. The second shot marks an end of 2 other players, and only one vehicle catches fire this time. Third shot engulfs everything in flame, but we see no casualties. The fourth shot leads to some unexpected results. We were aiming at the center of their formation, but got 2 stray vehicles pretty far away from the blast. Oh well. And it takes 2 more shots to finish the deed. A high explosive shell, even a massive one, is not, as it turns out, the best choice for bowling. Not a single strike, even with these lightly armored pins. Now let's see if we can get a strike while shooting at the line of thick-scanned SBA AGs with a fearsome Chieftain. We put our flak panzers in an improvised conga line, aim right at the closest vehicle, and fire. 3 vehicles go up in flames. Another shot, and we get 3 more. It seems like we cannot destroy more than 3 with a single shell. At the time of impact with the third target, the trajectory of our projectile is bent to such an extent that the shell is of no danger to other vehicles. Now, let's play with a bigger ball, a mighty mouse. We form a wedge with a group of recklessly brave BT-5s, and then ram these lightly armored pins with 200 tons of Teutonic fury. We enter this formation at a blinding speed of 20 kilometers an hour, and get through. Slowly, but surely. The comrades driving BT-5s couldn't stop the German onslaught, and this can only mean one thing. They are now part of a special incentive program supervised by a ZSU-23-4 Shilka. Get well soon! Finally, it's time for the traditional last part of our show, Hotline, developers answering questions from the comments. Strictly speaking, it's not the most serious-minded section of the show. If you want answers to be given with solemn faces, feel free to appeal to the official forums. Here we'll have a more lighthearted discussion of the big questions of War Thunder. We hope you like it. We'll start with a question from the Joker 1432. When will he add the Italian aircraft tree? Just their rough time frame. Hello buddy, sorry, we cannot give you even a rough date. The only thing we can say is that we are doing it. You'll get a chance to spray your enemies with pasta and fly these fabulous machines soon enough. The second question comes from Red Bullet GV. Are you planning to create a lobby system so that players can choose what map they want to play on? Nope, we're not planning to introduce such a feature, at least in the nearest future. There are two big problems with this. First, it could make the queue time even longer for players who are eager to play on any map. Secondly, it might lead to matches with incomplete teams. We really dislike both of these possibilities and don't want to gamble with the comfort of our players. Then there's the question from a player called Grim75. Will War Thunder go to Xbox One by any chance? Well, we'll put it like this. After the Microsoft's closed platform announcement, it might be possible, but don't get too optimistic. Never fry a fish till it's caught, as they say. This is it for today, but feel free to write your questions in the comments below. We do read them all, and you might see some of them answered in the next episode. If you like what we're doing, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you on the shooting range.